Welcome back to the Celtics Nation Rise podcast, episode 68, presented by Celtics Talk Weekly. I'm your host, Griffin Aldrich. Alongside me, we have our great and awesome co-host right here, Andrew Quinn. Welcome, Andrew, back to another episode 68. I wanted to give a huge shout out to you. You've been killing it with the photos and content, so go check out AJQ Photos, AJQ Media. Go check that out. So I want to give some love on that. But
hey, you got your photo account too. I got
hey,
some cool photos of Slugger. I really like that.
some,
So I
yeah,
respect that you're going for the photography as well. You know,
I
the more the
tell
merrier.
you what, inspired by you, Andrew. Gotta love it. No, I actually I'll show it on the recording really quick. I found my camera at home. So I was like, I might as well bring it up, take some photos, and I'm going to be taking a photography class. So,
Are you really?
Oh yeah.
That's
So might as well put it into use, like gotta get that ready. But with that being said, another week, Andrew, and I tell you what, there is not a lot of news. So
No, it's getting rough. I'm not gonna lie, it's getting rough. But we're almost there. I mean, we're right on the cusp of getting to, where action's really going to start happening. So hang tight with us
and everyone
enjoy the ride.
Keep your eyes peeled. I tell you what, there's still action, but it's not like, oh whoa, like we're starting preseason and everything. But I tell you what, Andrew, this offseason has been fun. And
it has been fun nonetheless. And if you're a diehard Celtics fan, you're still going to want to hear what's going on, and you're still going to want to listen to the podcast. And it has been a great summer, and we've been able to create a lot of things from Celtics content. So just excited to see when the season actually starts and we have even more content. You know what I mean? That's awesome.
Exactly, because we've just been prepping and everything. And I tell you what, things have gotten so boring. I had to shave my mustache and spice it up. Just kidding. That's not what happened. Just shaved it up a little, new look, I guess. But no, I mean, you said it right there, Andrew. I mean, the season's creeping up, so the content's going to just go back to being at the top. But we've been killing it. So gotta show some love.
All thanks to the fans and everyone that's been supporting us. Can't kill it without you guys. Like seriously, like
exactly.
We definitely mean that, and without your support, sometimes you guys help us continue this and keep this train moving. So thank you.
Totally. And if you guys haven't already, drop a subscribe. Like, go hit that subscribe button right now. Drop a like. I don't know why you guys aren't, but just go drop it really quick. But with that being said, Andrew, it's been a week. We got some news, and I tell you what, some news is better than no news. And the breaking news I want to pull, and we kind of already brushed up on it a little bit during last podcast, but we didn't really tone it down. And one thing I do want to talk about is obviously we gave a little brief talk about Miles Norris. I made a whole video on that, and I believe you were on there with me. I'm not sure.
I was on the video when we talked about him getting traded. I wasn't there for the interview with his friend.
Yeah.
But I would have loved to, and I'm sure we're gonna have him back on.
We will. Maurice, if you're watching this, join back on. But yeah, we talked about Miles Norris and him being waived because there was a huge trade where the Celtics acquired RJ Lewis. And when they acquired RJ Lewis, that filled up all three two-way contract spots. However, there was still an unsigned rookie that the Boston Celtics drafted, and I believe was right behind Hugo Gonzalez, and I think he could give Hugo Gonzalez competition for, and this is a hot take, so grab some water because this is hot. I think he gives Hugo Gonzalez some competition for being the best pick, and obviously that will transpire, and who knows what Hugo can be. But Amari Williams, too, this is a guy who I've seen flashes of greatness, and I think this is a guy who I like this move from the Boston Celtics. And I don't know about you, but let's break it down. And I think this was a move that needed to happen. So Amari Williams signs a two-way contract with the Boston Celtics. Andrew, what are your initial thoughts when you saw this all break down?
Yeah, I'm happy he signed it. I mean, he's a lefty big who can really move well and then can facilitate the ball, right? So I think a lot of times being able to facilitate is something that doesn't necessarily comes more naturally than it does for others, in my opinion. So it's something that's a little harder to kind of train and give someone the ability to have vision. Granted, it's possible to give someone vision and teach them how to read plays, read offenses, and create. I mean, Tatum has shown that to us where, he started off as a younger player, uh, a scoring threat, and teams are going to come collapse on you, bring doubles, and really force you to make a play, whether it's passing or creating a shot for yourself. But Tatum has developed his game when it comes to playmaking. So for Amari Williams to come into the league already having that playmaking ability, especially at the big position, when we have guys like Jokic, um, you know, Alperen Sengun, I mean, a lot of these talented bigs that can move the ball, I mean, that is just such a big piece. And I think the Celtics are looking at that as an investment and something that they can utilize and potentially grow into a even better player. But I will say as well, it's like having a guy like Amari Williams, especially in the offenses that NBA teams run. They have a lot of times where they throw a guy up high in the high post, and they run, scissor cuts off of the high post, and they run flare screens, and they run different actions up high, pick and roll, pick and pops. Like there's a lot of high action up top where you can really get him at the top of the key, seeing the entire court, seeing cutters, seeing Hugo Gonzalez cut to the rim for a layup. That's really what I see him capable of. And I think the Celtics see that as well. And they're saying, we got to have this guy on our team. I mean, they drafted him for a reason, and they're going to invest in him. And he's young, so let's throw him in a two-way, but we'll see how he progresses. So I'm excited for Amari Williams from what I've seen from his athletic ability. And it's a good signing. And it's something that we got to keep an eye on, and who knows what's going to happen. But as of right now, I think Celtics fans should be happy about it.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, this is a player who, I mean, Celtics fan base has been in a dire need for a big, and I'm not saying this solves your problems, but I'm saying this is a good young option that you could have at the big position. And I really am favored of this signing just because, I mean, geez, when was the last rookie that we had as a big? Because you look at it, we had Anton Watson, I guess, but
Mm-hmm.
he played the four,
I mean, really,
Celtic.
Rob Williams is the
Yeah,
last guy that we really drafted and developed into something. And unfortunately, like we know, injuries really, really uh, bothered him. So it is nice to have a rookie come up into the system where you can mold him into something that you want, and just have a young guy that learn. So it's nice to have that. And yeah, I mean, I'm kind of already said everything that I was gonna say. I'm not
no,
gonna lie.
yeah,
I was
no,
gonna
yeah,
say something. I'm like, I don't even know, but Griffin,
no.
you go.
I agree though. I look at Amari Williams and I look at this guy, and I think Seamus has already elaborated on this, but it is kind of tough to find those gems late in the rounds,
Mhm.
especially late in the second round. It's kind of hard to find those gems. However, I feel like Amari Williams has the character traits to be one of those gems. And I mean, I'm shocked he didn't go earlier in the draft, which
Mhm.
really shocks me. I mean, the Celtics, they could have picked him up. I believe they had the 31st pick and they traded that. I feel like Amari Williams could have went the 31st pick. He is a
Mhm.
player who I think, and quote me if I'm wrong, and we're going to be clipping this if this is a hot take, if it's true, but this is a player who could really be a steal in the draft, or he's a player that you look at and you're going, oh, 46. All right, I saw that of Amari Williams. But I have a question for you, Andrew. My
Yeah,
question is, obviously it took so long for the Celtics to put pen to paper and sign him to this two-way contract. They even signed Max Shulga, who I believe that Amari Williams had the most productive um, summer league out of all three of the rookies. And
definitely.
they signed Amari Williams last, and I wanted to know your thoughts. Do you believe there's any reason why they signed Amari Williams so late? Because I think you could look at it. Maybe they were looking to potentially get him on a standard contract, or was this the plan the whole time? Or maybe they were like, all right, we can move off of Amari if we get another big. But what are your thoughts? Like, why did it take the Celtics so long to finally sign him to a two-way?
Yeah, I think your last take probably makes the most sense in my brain, and don't really have a real idea. I don't know if the media has really spoke on this, so I can't give you a straight answer about it. But I think the Celtics were making moves. You know, they were trying to move pieces around, and they have um, they have guys that they could move. I mean, they had Niang, you know, and so I think there were some probably waiting a little because he is a valuable piece and he is someone that teams could want and could find useful for themselves in the future. So I think it might have been a Celtics move where they're just kind of like, let's sit a little, let's see kind of what we can do with him before inking a deal. I mean, I don't know if that makes a total amount of sense, but I could see that, and then also just I mean, just the way it goes. I mean, I can't say that there's a real reason behind it, you know, but I just think, you know, some things take a little more time than others, and maybe they were trying to get maybe what's he was trying to get a better deal than he wanted, and then the Celtics were willing to give, and because he feels that he's valuable to a team. So there could be so many variables that I have honestly no clue, but I can it's definitely an interesting topic to think about, and I'm curious what you think.
Oh yeah, I look at this and I agree with you. I feel like, the Celtics are still probably far from done with moves as far as even the offseason, because you look at it, there's still a lot of guys where you're like, oh, are they going to be on our roster? I mean, Anthony Simons is one name that we've been talking about all offseason where they're like, all right, does he even start the season on the Celtics? Is that a guy who gets shopped earlier in the season? That's a guy that you keep your eyes peeled for. And I feel like the Celtics were making moves and they're like, all right, could we even, I know it seems weird, but maybe even ship off Amari Williams? Could we
Or
get,
even like not even keep him, you know, just not even sign him to a contract. That's kind of what I was trying to get at, I guess. If I
yeah,
could say it more succinctly, it's just maybe Amari Williams, we trade for a guy that we have to sign, maybe a little more bread, maybe a little more money, and we just kind of like, and we'll part ways with Amari Williams. So that's kind of what I meant to say is maybe the Celtics just didn't want to spend that money before they knew exactly what moves they were going to make and what players they were going to have on the roster come come this time.
no, you're totally right on that. And I look at Amari Williams though, and I look at the fact now that he's signed to that two-way contract. I think this nothing but benefits the Celtics. And I like this take a lot too. I believe that, you could be in a situation where you're really thin on center depth. And I could really look at that and be like, all right, say Xavier Tillman, we saw him and this went as far as, all right, they just gave him DNPs because he was not good enough and they had other options. But say you're in a circumstance where Xavier Tillman isn't doing good and, you have Keita and he's not doing good, or Garza. Maybe they were under the influence that, okay, could we give him a standard deal? Because
Mhm.
with the two-way contract, you're only allowed to play a certain amount of games up in the NBA.
Yes, that
So they
too.
could have even been contemplating, do we give this guy a standard roster spot? Because a two-way contract, we're not going to get the most out of that we would as a standard deal, because they could totally have been throwing that around. And I feel like
Yeah, and
that,
that's a conversation that takes a little time to flesh out and really come to a conclusion on. Like the GMs aren't just gonna go day one and be like, you know what,
no,
we're gonna have him on the roster. We need him. Let's give him a standard. You know, because he's not that type of player yet, where he's like a definite standard contract guy. So there had to be discussion about that, and I think I'd rather the Celtics have that conversation and really dig deep and think about what they wanted to use Amari Williams for rather than just giving him this deal, giving him that. So to take a little time is okay, especially when the Celtics had the luxury to do so. I mean, there wasn't necessarily any rush. The season hasn't started yet. They
No,
got time. So it's important to just kind of take that time and really think about the best next move for yourself. And there's no rush.
totally. And a question I have to ask you too, and this is one that I feel is going to spark a little controversy. And maybe it's just because I didn't see enough out of Ugo in Summer League that I
Mhm.
wanted to see. But I believe this. I believe if Amari Williams is on a two-way contract, I believe Ugo deserves it as well. I believe if Ugo is on a standard contract, I believe Amari deserves it too. I think Ugo and Amari have proved just as much from each other, if that makes any sense.
No,
I
it
believe that
does. It does.
they proved the same amount. If not, I feel Amari did better than Ugo in Summer League. But I look at that, it's very rare where you have first round players sign, a two-way contract.
Mhm.
So it's rare where you see that. You totally can see it, but I feel like that's kind of the push where it's like, all right, let's put him on this standard deal. Let's kind of treat him how we treated Baylor Shireman and have him bounce around in Maine, have him play some games up for the Celtics. But what are your thoughts? Do you think Amari Williams and Ugo Gonzalez are on the same level? Because again, Ugo Gonzalez is only 19. There's still a lot of development to be had with Ugo Gonzalez. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
no, I understand where you're coming from. And I think there is some bias and just trying to read into the Celtics front office. Front office, I mean, you spent a first round pick on Hugo and you spent the second on Amari. And you kind of know what you're looking for in Hugo Gonzalez. You know what you're looking for in Amari Williams.
Mhm.
And you're probably setting your expectations for Hugo Gonzalez a little higher.
Yeah,
So by putting him on a standard deal, you're almost investing in him to reach that point of which he's impactful for the Celtics this season, rather than Amari Williams, who maybe they don't feel as confident in producing right off the bat. And I just think that's going to be in the front office's mind. And yes, maybe they didn't perform, or maybe they performed equally in Summer League, or maybe Amari Williams stood out to you just a little more. But I do think Hugo coming from Spain and coming from overseas, being in the US and just experiencing life here and just adapting to this whole new situation, I think you can give him a little more grace and I think they probably feel that Hugo Gonzalez is a little closer to that. So that's why they give him a standard, which I think I agree with, because I think Hugo Gonzalez to me has a better ceiling this season than Amari Williams
yeah.
does this season. That's how I see it. Like I
Well,
think Hugo Gonzalez could really, really make a huge impact this season, but I also think he could, be a little more stagnant. But I think Amari Williams, his impact is not as great, or the possibility of impact is not as great as Hugo, and so that's where they're kind of gauging it in my eyes.
and I believe a fact in there as well is Ugo Gonzalez is 19. Amari Williams is 23. So it's like if
True.
Amari Williams is playing at the same or slightly surpassing Ugo Gonzalez, that's fine because he should. He's 23. This is a guy who's played years in college and has developed his game, toned his game. Therefore, and meanwhile, Ugo Gonzalez, yeah, he played with some veterans over in Spain. However, his time to rise is a lot greater than Amari Williams because Amari Williams, you look at a Baylor Shireman kind of, all right, you take the first year to develop, but then we expect you to be able to play at the NBA level. And
Yeah.
that's where I see it kind of because
I mean,
Baylor Shireman, same circumstances as Amari Williams. Baylor Shireman was 24 when he came in last year, probably going to be 25, I think, this year, turns 25 at some point. So this is a guy who you want to win now with and
Shyman, yeah, he needs to.
compete.
I mean, that's another discussion, but he needs to perform right now. And
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 same with
and,
Amari.
and same with
Amari,
Amari, but Amari's got a year, and I
you're
also think Amari. Well, I kind of lost my train of thought, but I think Hugo Gonzalez.
he has more time He has more
Also has
time.
more time, but he also has more. There's more roster spots. There's more space in the rotation for Hugo Gonzalez than Amari Williams in my eyes too, because
I
the
agree.
the bigs are obviously a little deeper with Garza, with Kada, and we just signed Boucher. So there's a lot of different kind of guys in that rotation where it might be harder for Amari Williams to crack the um the rotation. So that's why he's probably G League and on the two-way. Where Hugo Gonzalez, there's a little more room for him to actually get in the rotation and have valuable minutes because he's on the level of those wings that he can compete with in the second tier. Like I think he's can compete with the guys like Jordan Walsh and guys like I was just and Shireman. Like I do think he's at that level where he could really push the envelope to where this season you could see him
Yeah.
taking strides over them. Like I believe that. Like I think they're in a similar level of production because he does have that little extra edge defensively where he can make an impact and he has that mindset from what we've seen. I mean, Joe Mazzulla likes him a lot, and they were doing an interview. I forget what it was, but he's like, I'm just focused on winning, getting back to the game, something along those lines. Like, I do see that from Hugo Gonzalez, and it's going to be easier for him to get in the lineup because, Tatum's gone and the small forward rotation's not as deep comparative to the bigs.
No, I agree hands down. And one thing I did want to bring up because I just made a post on it today, and I wanted to hear your thoughts too. Talking about two-way players, you have Amari Williams, you have Shulga, and you have RJ Lewis. Um, and one thing I wanted to say is it's kind of crazy, Andrew, and you could talk about this a little more too, because last year we talked about the changes with the Boston Celtics, but I think the biggest change was from their two-way players because you have all three new ones. Last year, you had J.D. Davison, you had Miles Norris, you had Drew Peterson. Do you think it was time for a change for the Celtics, or do you think that was one where you still saw a ceiling for them, or are you happy with the changes? What are your
You think it
thoughts?
was a time for a change in the two-way contracts?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think so. I really do. JD Davidson, we did sign him. We did end up signing him to like a full contract. And I've talked about this on the podcasts and on post games a lot. But I just don't think JD Davidson had the ability to create a winning atmosphere for a team. Like I think he's very ball dominant. I don't think he fit the play style of the Celtics. And I just think that his playmaking ability was a little, it wasn't kind of my liking. And I think it was time to move on from JD because he had plenty of time to crack the rotation and get minutes. Obviously, there's a lot of guys in front of him, so it was hard. But he had 3 years, right? Or that's right, 3 years,
yeah, 3 years.
and he didn't really necessarily stand out to the Celtics so much to where they were gonna start giving him minutes. So it was time to move on from him. And you got Miles Norris, great player, can really shoot the three, and
And stick
has a lot
out
of
in
talent,
the
and
league.
he's lengthy. And someone's gonna sign him, I think so, here overseas. But he's another one of those guys that does he have a high ceiling? I don't know, right? Like,
That's the
is
tough
he in
part.
the league for a long time? I don't know, but a guy like Hugo Gonzalez to me, young, 19, has the ability to be in the league for a long time because of his potential mentality, his skill set, his defense, his athleticism. And then you have RJ Lewis, who, I mean, I love RJ Lewis. I think he's a really good player. He really led St. John's to, you know, a really amazing run in the tournament. And you could say whatever you want about him. He didn't perform in the tournament. He didn't do exactly what we wanted to see from him, but he has that within him. And sometimes you get to the tournament and stuff just doesn't go your way. I mean, it was a lot of pressure and you learn from that. You take it on the chest and you move on. So I mean, I just think now these two-way contracts, you got to refresh because
You do.
you invest, and if they don't show what they're capable of within 3 years, you have to move on because you got to invest into some new guys who have potentially higher ceilings and have a better chance at really cracking the roster and making an impact.
Well, I have to say too, two-way contracts are for development. Therefore, if you can create a player, sometimes it takes 2 to 3 years. I mean, the Celtics developed Peyton Pritchard, they developed Kada, Kata's still in development, but they developed Pritchard, they developed Sam Hauser, and they've developed so many other Celtics greats. However, there's a time that if they're not affecting the game, you got to move off of them. And they took that time with Drew Peterson, they took that time with Miles Norris, and they took that time with JD Davison. However, I believe this is a guy. I'm a big fan of JD, and I think that that's still a guy who could affect the game. I just feel like his sample size wasn't big enough with the Celtics because you said ball dominant, but he never got a time where the time was meaningful. It was always garbage time minutes, so he still showcased his main side of ball. So you feel me?
I mean, I get it. No, I get it. I just
it's
we could go back and forth about it
though, because he's
and
gone.
he's gone, and we can go back and forth.
The Rockets.
It's not it's done. I don't know. He reminds me of a guy that comes off the bench that gives you points and can pile on points, but like, does he bring a winning culture? Does he win games for you day in and day out? Does he do other things like intangibles that you need? I don't know. And talking to some people recently, like, you learn that when you're in the NBA, you have to play a role. You have to stick to that role and do it to a T. And if you don't, they're fine with moving on from you because they'll find someone else to play that role. And I don't know if J.D. Davison had the capability to sit back and take a role that maybe wasn't what he had with the main Celtics. Yeah. And I think that's been his career his entire life, is ball dominant, attacking the hoop, getting hard buckets. Like, he has a lot of easy buckets, but a lot of his buckets were like really, really tough. Like, he had to work so hard for them that it's taken away from defense and all these things, and when you get to the NBA, like, that margin of error and that margin for hard buckets, it really diminishes. And when you're working so hard for buckets, it makes your offense stagnant. It makes everything around you stagnant. So I just don't know if the Celtics saw J.D. Davison being able to take a role that wasn't scoring and controlling the entire game. And not to his fault. Like, some guys are just dogs that's who they are and they need that. But on the Celtics, you have those guys already, and I think they needed to move on from him because of that.
No, I agree. And that's a conversation that we talked so much about JD, and that's one where I've kind of said to, like, shifting, from one, all 3 two-way players now to another new 3 two-way players. And it's going to be interesting to see that this year.
It's exciting, honestly. And it is. Being in Maine, I know we always talk about it, but to see like a guy like RJ Lewis up close, to see a guy Williams up close. I mean, those guys are really, really talented bigs. I mean, talented players, and they played at high levels under, great coaches at that as well. So it's going to be fun to see in Maine. And I think they're fun players to watch, and there's a reason the Celtics drafted them. And now it's up to the Celtics and the players, obviously. They got to hold themselves accountable and work hard and put their head down and find a way to stand out amongst the crowd in the NBA. But it's up to the Celtics and them to find a way to create a atmosphere that promotes improvement so they can step on the Celtics floor when it's time to really make an impact.
No, you said it right there. And one thing, and Seamus put a graphic here, so we'll throw it up. But one thing I have to say, new look Celtics is just going to be interesting. So I'm throwing this up. Shout out to the Red Sox, and I'm questioning why Devers is there. Maybe this is supposed to be a thumbnail. We'll figure it out. But shout out to Seamus, other known as Celtics Every Day. who's been killing it with the graphics. I believe he made this graphic too of 2024 and 2025. So we talked about plugs a lot last time, Andrew. So here are some plugs. If you guys like Celtics Nation Rise and the crew we have here, the production, go check out Chasing the Monster, because that's a thing Lewis and I decided to kickstart a while ago, and David and him are over there killing it. So go check it out. But there's a plugs, and go check out AJQ photos too, because he got some sick Sea Dog photos, and make sure to check out the Sea Dog videos from Celtics night last week. But with that being said, I wanted to check this out, and shout out to Seamus. I love the ticker down below. Hold on, when it comes back,
it's great.
let's read it for you guys, because it's interesting to say the least, and I love it, Seamus. And I love the graphic that we have up here too. We're just waiting until this ticker moves along, and then we'll read it for you guys, because I tell you what, to say the least, Andrew, I was like, wait, Seamus, this was interesting.
I noticed that while I was just kind of, looking around. I was like, okay.
And we have Griffin Aldrich and Andrew Quinn play the drums. Wait, scratch that. I'm hearing, Griffin Aldrich and Andrew Quinn talk ball on episode 68 of Celtics Nation Rise podcast. I love it. I love it. But with that being said, enough of me talking, and you see this graphic right here of showing the up-and-coming Celtics. You have Hugo Gonzalez, you have RJ Lewis in there, you have Luka Garza, Josh Minott, Amari Williams, and Max Shulka. So it's crazy how time flies by. That was the Celtics core up at the top with Derek White, KP, Al Horford, Brown, Tatum. Now you have the young up-and-coming Boston. And remember, Tatum was there throwing out the first pitch at one time. So I tell you what, Andrew, there's a time and a place where the Celtics like going to the Red Sox, and this is the new era for the Celtics, at least this year, while we're having a bridge year for next year. So what are your thoughts though on that photo?
It's weird to see. I'm not gonna lie.
I will say, because when I saw that, I'm like, ugh.
So I was just at the Pat Conley camp, and I saw I was fortunate they gave me like a little book. It was like the Fear the Deer, like 2021 championship book. And the fact that says 2021 is ridiculous. Like, the fact that the Bucks won in 2021 just blows my mind, And so for that to be so long ago, but then we have the Celtics winning in 2024, and now the team's already shifting. It's just crazy how fast time goes by, in that, like, you got to be in the moment for it. But it's shocking. I mean, it's the way that the NBA moves, and it's the way the world moves, to be honest. I mean, if a team's not winning you championships and they're not producing the way you want them to produce, and money is moving all the time, and the market's always changing, and you got to be able to stay on your toes and shift and make tough decisions. So it's something that, as you get older, I guess, and to all the younger fans out there that maybe get super attached to the players and are sad, and even the older fans, everyone who gets attached to the players, it's like, you got to realize that it's a business, and these things happen. It doesn't get easier, but it's a pattern that is always going to happen, and it's just something that NBA fans and people have to get used to. And I'll miss that old team, I will. But looking at that young team gives me a good feeling, because these are young guys that are looking to prove something. And when you have that combined with a Celtics culture and a Celtics legacy, I think meshing those two together could really, really stir something up, where you create just killers that have a chip on their shoulder that also want to keep the Celtics legacy alive. So, and no matter who's wearing the Celtics uniform, it's always fun to see people rise to the occasion and continue to keep the legacy and the culture and the winningness, within the program.
No, 100%. And I'm about to go through the roster, because we'll be talking about the 10-day exhibit contracts exhibition, I think it is, contracts.
Exhibit
Contracts. All right, so we'll be talking about. I don't know why I said exhibition. Why did I say exhibit?
I mean, I think it might be short for it, but yeah.
Yeah, but maybe it is. But exhibit contracts. That's what we'll be going through in this. But we're going to be talking about the standard deals as well as Seamus. Again, shout out Seamus Zarlingo, yours truly. Not here
Dude,
today,
the
but
mastermind behind all this. I mean,
mastermind right here.
incredible.
So shout out to him for making this list for all of us at home. So you guys get to hear us yap about the whole roster really quick. So I'm going to go through the standard contract spots first, and then we'll get into everything. So for standard, we have 14 standard roster spots. You're allowed 15. So usually they like keeping it open. Obviously at trade deadline, they like picking up a veteran. Last year they had Torrey Craig. So maybe they'll like to roll with 14, but who knows? Right now it's technically 13 though, because Tatum is on the roster, but he's out with Achilles. So you have Tatum, Brown, White, Pritchard, Simons, Hauser, Kada, Boucher that we've obviously talked about. You have Garza, Shireman, Walsh, Tillman, Minot, and Hugo Gonzalez. For your two-way players, you have Amari Williams, Max Shulga, and RJ Lewis Jr. And then you have, for your 10-day exhibit contracts, there we go, we have Aaron Scott, Hayden Gray, Ron Harper Jr. Welcome back. I got to give him a huge shout out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We'll be talking about him in just a second. And then you also unconfirmed, you have Jalen Bridges, but there's been rumors about that. So let's talk about the exhibit contracts really quick. You have a lot of guys in there, and you have some guys that aren't in there as well. Like, I have to give out a shout out to Kendall Brown, who I think deserved one of those. I don't see him there right now. Who knows? Maybe he could get one of those, but as of right now, he's not on there. That's a guy I could totally see play with the Maine Celtics. Isaiah Wong, who actually signed overseas. So this is a guy who is not going to be with the Maine Celtics, not going to be spending time with the Boston Celtics as he signed overseas. And another guy I haven't seen on here is Charles Bassey. That's one. Maybe.
Yes, I know. That's very interesting. Yeah. But when you really think about it, though, the big man room is pretty
stacked.
It's pretty stacked. It is. There's a lot of guys in there. And bringing on Bassey, it's going to take one of those guys out of the rotation. Could mess with culture. Could mess with, the rhythm of the Celtics. Like, you got to factor these things in. I think at this point, if he's not on the team, he's probably looking elsewhere. But, I mean, you never know, though. They could be really working on a contract.
Yeah, because I look at it, the last rumor that we had, because there was a huge rumor that he was going overseas, and it was like, no, he's trying to work something with the Celtics. So, who knows? Keep your eyes peeled. Mm-hmm. And then lastly, though, Kenny Lofton Jr., who is not on there yet. Still plenty of time till preseason comes up, so not sure about that. But I wanted to talk about Hayden Gray for one. I like that. I like that move. What are your thoughts about Hayden Gray? We didn't see a lot from him, so that's why
I'm not as educated on Hayden Gray. I would rather think that's more of your take for this one. But I think, I mean, what do you think exactly? Because I wasn't able to catch too much of the summer league,
mm-hmm.
But I got the bulk of it, But what would you say about Hayden Gray? To send it back to you.
Yeah. I am not huge on Hayden Gray. He showed flashes of good stuff, but he didn't get a lot of playing time, and that's exactly why that exhibit contract is so important, because you look at that, this just gives another opportunity for them to shine, and this is a guy who they could stuff in their G League, and we could see him play a lot. So I'm not huge on the move. However, it's one that you see it happen all the time.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta make a decision, and if he's kind of towards the tail end of your roster, like, it's gonna happen. I mean, I'm sure he's a talented player, but
yeah,
you can't sign everyone. You can't sign everyone.
No, but would I like them to rather have Kendall Brown or Kenny Lofton or even Charles Bassey over his spot, 10 out of 10, yes. But
Yeah.
that's a guy they're going to trust in, and they like that. Do you know a lot about Aaron Scott, who I wanted to say a apology to Aaron Scott too. I flashed up a picture of Aaron Scott, the football player. No, this is Aaron Scott, the basketball player, because the whole thing happened with Franco too. That's a story for another time, I guess. Seamus said that.
I
But
don't know as much either for Aaron Scott, but seeing he played for St. John's, which is nice, and he obviously played with R.J. Lewis, so could be a little chemistry right there. Should be nice to see, and playing under a guy like Rick Pitino, it's like you're gonna have the intangibles, you're gonna understand what it takes to play winning basketball. So signing a guy on that team to even develop other players around him and to bring that winning culture from St. John's to the G League, that's something you want to have on your team. Because you got to realize too, yes, the main Celtics, they want to develop players and they want to really help, the Celtics, but they also want to win games.
yeah,
They're not just
they don't want to
they want to
lose.
put on a show for Maine Celtics for the expo. They want to put on a show for Maine, for people from Maine. Like it's a business for them too, and they got to make their money as well. So having guys like that being part of the team is super important. So that's exciting for me for having a guy like Rick Pitino, and he can really impact the game from a winning aspect.
No, I agree. And I like Aaron Scott. That's one that I'm not mad about because I think I would put him in the category of a Jalen Bridges. And I think that was one player who we did see get more time for the
Mhm.
Celtics during Summer League. So I'm not mad about that one as I am with Hayden. And I'm not mad about Hayden Gray. I feel like, again, I said it, those are players where they didn't get a lot of time in the Celtics Summer League, and the Celtics are just giving them another shot to prove themselves. Would I prefer a Kendall Brown? Yeah, but the thing about it is Kendall Brown's been in the league. He has been around. However, Aaron Scott and Hayden Gray could be secret gems that just bloom out of the G League, and the Celtics could be right in line for them. So
Yeah.
I'm I'm not mad about it. I like Aaron Scott over Hayden Gray, I would say. So I'm not mad about that one. I like that one. And I like what you said with St. John's too, how that's yeah, I like it. I like it. You turned me on Aaron Scott a little more. So
Yeah, and I mean it's just you got to get players at this point in the G League that have the highest ceiling in the entire world, like that have so much potential, but they need to be developed. And to me, and Aaron Scott, that's what he kind of reminds me of.
no,
And he
totally.
can shoot it too, which is nice for a Celtics team. So I mean, it's tough to talk about because it's just like, are they going to make an impact to the Celtics? But from a main Celtics perspective, I think people should be happy that he's going to be on the team and they're going to be able to watch him play and see him perform.
Totally, totally. And one thing I do want to say before we get into my favorite player on this list. I
Yeah.
want to talk about Jalen Bridges a little bit too. He's not confirmed, but he's one that he could get that. Do you have any knowledge on Jalen Bridges, or kind of not really?
Not really.
I like Jalen Bridges. I would put him more in the category of a Kenny Lofton, of one of those players. He's still young, hasn't proved himself a lot, but that's a player I would love to see play for the main Celtics. That's a player I would love to just see in general play. I'm
Mhm.
a big fan of him. I would be happy if they signed him to that. However, I would put him over a Hayden Gray. I would put him over Aaron Scott. But again, Aaron Scott and Hayden Gray, they haven't proved anything. So they could be secret gems. We kind of know what a Kendall Brown is. We kind of know what a Kenny Lofton or a Charles Bassey is. We kind
Right.
of know that. We don't know what these players are. And that's
Yeah,
what
and that's a great point actually, and kind of what I was getting at. It's like you know what you're getting with Kenny Lofton at this point, but these other
we
guys that you're signing, you don't necessarily know. And for a G League player, that's actually a good thing. So you want to kind of invest in those type of players and just roll the dice because that's really where you're at.
Yeah, and sure, you could get a spark with a Kenny Lofton. Sure, there could still be something in there where he turns into a role player. Sure, there could be something with Kendall Brown or, Jalen Bridges or Charles Bassey even. Maybe he could shoot out into a star. However, you know what you've gotten from them. You haven't got a lot of productivity. So bringing in these new players, that's what people like to do because it's the unknown, which is so promising. And I think that's what Shane says, but it's true.
And also you got guys that are coming from college that are trying to make a name for themselves and kind of have that chip on their shoulder. Like, I got to prove myself because I want to be in the NBA for a long time.
Exactly.
And like a guy like Kenny Lofton, where he's at in his head right now, where he's been kind of going through it. And, I highly doubt that he's giving in and giving up, but a guy like coming straight out of college kind of has fresher legs, fresher mindset that's easier to mold into player that you want, rather than Kenny Lofton, who's a little bit older and who has already kind of developed into the player that he is. It's harder to really change a player's game once they get to a certain point in the league.
Exactly. You said right there, Andrew. But a player I am very high on who's already been around for a little bit, but he's very promising to me, and that's no other than Ron Harper Jr., who the Celtics just recently added to a 10-day exhibit contract. And I love this move because I look at it and I look at Ron Harper Jr. He's coming off a 2-way contract with the Pistons, and he got this opportunity for the Celtics last year, went to their G League and got a 2-way contract elsewhere. And I got to meet him. Hopefully, if he's there this year, get to have an interview with him. But that's a guy who I love to see because he's already proved that he is more than capable of getting a 2-way contract. His brother is an absolute stud, went 2 in the draft. And this is a guy who, he's not going to let his brother outplay him. He's going to play with a chip on his shoulder now, and he's going to say, hey, I'm also capable to play in the league. And I look at the Thompson twins, and I look at them, or the crap, why can't I think of it? What's Maurice? Wait, what's his name? What's the one that played for Boston? I can't think of his last name. Why can't I think of his name?
A twin?
Yeah. Morris. The Morris twins.
Marcus Morris, yeah.
Yeah, the Morris twins. So you have the Morris twins, you have Amen, and why can't I think of the other one? And
Amen
Thompson,
and
Asar Thompson. Yeah, you have the Thompson twins and you have the Harpers. So I mean, look, I'm very high on Ron Harper Jr. and I love this for the Celtics because I feel like this is a guy that, if Shulga doesn't prove himself, I would prefer Ron Harper over him.
Yeah. No, I think he's got a good build, 6'4". I think from watching him, he seems like he's got a good wingspan. So defensively, I think he can compete, and he's got a nice shot on him as well. I mean, form, it's all right, but it goes in, and I think that's what you look for a guy, and he's got his dad obviously played in the
great
league,
mentor right there.
So a great mentor, and that's something that you also invest in, thinking that he's got the IQ and he has the ability to play at the next level, and he's got a good dad behind him and someone that's willing to support him. So I think it's just this is how it goes. You got to take into account everything about a player and decide, oh, this guy seems like he has a lot for him, so let's invest in him. And Ron Harper is a guy that you can invest in, a guy that has some high ceiling and a floor that, a little higher of a floor. And it's just like, might as well roll the dice. That's how it is. And it's a good investment.
I look at this though, unless he completely craps the bed in preseason, I think this is a guy, if he proves himself, you need to capitalize on him because the Pistons did. I mean, he was on our G League team last year and the Pistons took full advantage of that and they signed him to a 2-way contract. I say, look, if he proves himself on a bridge year like this, I wouldn't mind signing him to a standard deal. I know that might be a hot take, but on a bridge year like this, I'm willing to sign Ron Harper Jr. And if not, if things don't work out with Shulga in preseason, I'll drop him and put Ron Harper Jr. on there. I don't know your thoughts, but
No, yeah, I could see that. I could definitely see that. And yeah, he's a talented player, and to me, he's like kind of lower risk, high reward type of player, and he's good. He can make an impact, and obviously the Pistons saw something in him, and the Celtics see something in him, signing him. So fans should be happy with the signing and should really be optimistic about it.
I agree. Well, before we get into our last segment too, and unless there's anything else you want to say on the anything we've talked about so far, have anything
No,
else?
all good. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, before we get into our next segment, there is a picture running around about Joe Mazzulla. Someone was trying to sneak a
Oh,
lick of him, and this is what we got instead. Uh, what was your initial thought to this picture? I do have to say this definitely makes the off season a little more interesting because there's Joe doing his normal Joe things. What are your thoughts on this, though?
he's just an animal, man. He's not gonna let anything slide, and he watches too many movies to not be aware of his surroundings. You know, he knows what's about. And what did he say at the Red Sox? He was looking at every exit sign, and he's like, "We could rob this place." So he's keeping his eyes peeled wherever he's at. I mean, that is a classic Joe moment, and that's what makes being a Celtics fan so much fun. Because no matter what, you're gonna get something of content, and it's cool to see Joe Mazzulla just acting like he's a regular human being, man, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious.
What do you think? You think he saw the camera? Like he totally saw the camera and just went. Like what were your like?
I think so. What first came to mind was that like
We'll pull it back up.
he was doing it as like a joke, looking at him. But then in my back of my mind, it's like, I don't know. Maybe he's like dead serious about this. You know what I mean? Like maybe he's really, really in that mindset where he's like, yo, anyone could get me. I'm locked in, So I don't know.
I love it. A guy I love Joe Mazzulla. A guy I love Joe.
Yeah. And you wouldn't want anyone else coaching your team right now. And I think, yeah, that's it. No need to get deep with it.
No. Well, I know. And talking about the Red Sox with the Celtics, I mean, geez, they should have came to Celtics tonight. But you guys can still watch it. Go check out the vlog over on Celtics Nation Rise. So great day. So we're all about plugs, so I had to plug that in there. But Andrew, our final segment today, and I tell you what, Joe Mazzulla could still go watch that video and see how Celtics night went. So
he very well could.
He could. So our last segment here today is a fun one, and this could take a little time to kind of construct, but we've obviously done the tier list. Now I want to crack down and do your top 10 favorite former Celtics players.
Former
Celtics players. So, and this could be, you could add in a Larry Bird, but what ones have, I'm doing ones that I've watched and ones that I've enjoyed watching and have been.
Yeah, no, I think I'd rather go that route.
Because you could go Larry Bird. Obviously, he's one of your. I would say Paul Pierce is one of my favorite Celtics players, but I never watched him like that.
Yeah, my brain's already firing. I'm thinking of things. So
all right. Well,
so should I get started, or should we go like should we go 10 to 1, or just in no specific order?
No, I'm going no order because I don't think I could tier them.
Okay.
But we could start off both. If you want to go 5, I go 5, or do you want to go 10?
Yeah.
10? What do you want to do?
Yeah, we can go 5 and 5, and that sounds good with me.
You want to start off, or want me to go?
I can start it off. I got it. I mean,
all right.
I love the gritty players and the guys that add to the team, but maybe don't put the ball in the hoop as much. So I think.
Can we give some honorable mentions too? Because I want to throw my
honor. Yeah, this is awesome. I love it. And down in the comments, let us know your favorite players too.
I'm going
to start off with. I'm going to start off with the legend himself, Mr. Big Ticket. Kevin Garnett.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love his mentality, and every day that I still to this day will listen to like some of his speeches to get me fired up, and I love KG, and it has nothing to do with the basketball, but everything to do with the mindset, diving on loose balls, and just being a dog. Because I think some of that maybe it's not missing, but it's not as marketed in the NBA, and that's the stuff that just drew me in specifically. I think probably my second favorite player, I'll probably go Rondo. I just love his ability to create, move the ball, and he was such like a silent assassin in my eyes, but he he kept the Celtics moving, that team, I mean, he was part of that. It's a big four, in my eyes. It wasn't a big three, it was a big four. So I'll go Rondo. Who else? Who else? I think I gotta go, and this is just came to my brain. Jeff Green. I
Okay.
loved Jeff Green on the Celtics. I loved his dunks. I mean, he wore my number 8. It was my I don't know why. I just in second grade of basketball, I chose number 8. Jeff Green wore my number 8, and ever since then, I was a super. I loved him because I think the way he handled himself on the court, well, he's a good dude. I mean, down to earth, good dude who did everything for the Celtics, but maybe he didn't get the flowers, or maybe he didn't win championships for him, but he held them together and still brought entertainment to the sport. Um, I'm trying to think. I mean, this is tough. There's a lot of good ones.
Like,
I'd say Avery Bradley, another defensive menace. Just, I mean, never giving up on the defensive end. Not the prettiest on the offensive end, but got the job done. So a really good guy for me to watch, and I'd say, I'm on my game after him a little because he's going four core defense, and he's a little undersized. Like that's what you got to do to make an impact. So I definitely say Avery Bradley, and then I guess one more. Um, I guess I'll throw. You got to throw Pierce up. Actually, you got to throw Pierce up there too. Like you have to. You can't leave him out. And Pierce is just that guy that I grew up watching, and he was the all-star perennial player, and he was in his prime when I fell in love with the game. And so he's cold-blooded, but he bled green in my eyes. Like everything he did was for the city, and I loved all of his celebrations. He's just cold-blooded. So right now that's my 5, and it's just going through this, I'm getting nostalgic because those guys just shaped my Celtics fandom.
I will say they're on my favorites, but I'm gonna go a different route. I'm gonna go
Sure.
newer because I will say, like, I'm a relatively newer Celtics fan. I
Yeah.
will say, like, I was more so like grew up into the IT era, kind of. I was like pushing that, but they're still on my favorite list. So don't even get me wrong. Ray Allen up there, all of those guys.
Yeah.
I love them. But I'm gonna give an honorable mention to Dennis Schroeder. I loved
Dennis Schroeder.
watching
Okay.
Dennis Schroeder in Boston. These are gonna be ones where you're like, what? Like I gotta give an honorable mention to Tristan Thompson because that was one of my first Celtics jerseys. I got a Tristan Thompson
Crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
jersey. I gotta give a a shout out to Josh Richardson. I was so pissed when we traded Josh Richardson for Derek White. Believe it or not. And look what Derek White turned into.
Look at that.
It's like it changed my mind. But we'll go 5 first. Oh, as I broke my drawer right here. So
oh boy.
shout out to that. But we'll go with my 5 here, out of order completely. But I'm gonna give some love to Jay Crowder.
I was thinking about Jay Crowder actually.
I am big on Jay Crowder. I am a big Jay Crowder fan. He's one where I've loved watching him play, and every time I bring back old Celtics players when I'm playing 2K or something, Jay Crowder is one of the guys I bring back. So shout out Jay Crowder, one of my favorites. We gotta go with Robert Williams. I loved watching Time Lord. He was one, and he was a fun one to watch.
Mhm.
And gotta love him. I also gotta give that's 2 right now. can we give one to Luke Cornett? I know he's so recent.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
I loved watching Luke Cornett. That's 3. Who else we got? On here? I'm trying to think. Malcolm Brogdon. I was such a big Malcolm Brogdon fan.
Okay.
I loved watching Malcolm Brogdon. And then we'll go with Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas, I know a
Yeah,
lot.
I mean, you got to have him up there. I mean, it's just not debatable. If you're not a real Celtics fan if he's not on your list.
You got to. All right, let's hear your 5 though. Let's hear your last 5.
I'm trying. Oh, okay. Oh, actually, this is good. Actually, I don't know why, but Nate Robinson.
Okay,
I loved when Nate Robinson was on the squad. Thought it was really cool. I'll go Ray Allen, just because silent assassin, winner. Like I just thought he was just so cold blooded, where he's knocking down shots and you're looking at him for a reaction and he's just not giving it to you and he's just moving right all on. Who else? I mean, it's I'm trying to really think of, guys that are a little more, that went under the radar more so, and you really had to be there.
Daniel Tice, maybe
Daniel. Daniel Tice was great. I guess Aaron Baines. Aaron Baines,
yes, he was.
Aaron Baines was a great player. Celtics guy that did everything for the team. Wasn't flashy, we didn't win any so many games, but he was another guy that just really took on Celtics Nation, took on that role, and didn't let the nation down. So that was cool. That's a cool player to mention. What am I at now?
Terry? You gotta go Scary Terry.
I don't know. I think Scary Terry is cool. He was like up there favorites.
I'm trying to.
Who else? How many do I have? Do I have
Grant Williams? Can you go some Batman?
No, not Grant. No, I was never a huge fan of Grant.
Right. Are you?
I like him. Cool personality, but I don't know. He was a little corny to me sometimes.
I agree. You're gonna miss them both. I'm gonna make them both, and then Donovan.
No, but I do. I mean, no, Grant was dope. I mean,
all right. Are you on the Kyrie bus? That's what I'm.
Wait, actually, I should have said Kyrie. I'm actually gonna say Kyrie, and I could get a lot of hate for that. I know he disrespected the Celtics. He stepped on Lucky, and we met Lucky. And why would you step on Lucky? You can't step. He's a good guy. I mean, he's a good guy. What did Lucky do to you? But Kyrie, though, from a straight-up basketball player, I love him. I mean, his game is so beautiful to watch. It is when people say poetry in motion, it is the definition of poetry in motion. It is an art to him, and that's how he treats it. And some could argue maybe winning isn't as much of a priority for him, but creativity, the ability to just flow within a game and not think and just enjoy it and study the game. That's what I love about basketball, and it's such an art to me. So Kyrie really kind of shows that to me. When you watch Kyrie highlights, it feels like you're just living it. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing to watch. No matter if he's a bad guy, if he treated the Celtics community wrong, you have to look at it objectively. He is one of the most creative, talented players of all time, and you have to give him his flowers. And to have him on the Celtics roster, to be able to watch him perform, I mean, we were blessed to witness that. That's all I can say.
We were. I forgot if I gave it.
Oh, Horford.
Oh, but he can't count yet because
he has to count because he can count now, but he also counts before he came on the team. You know what I mean? Before he came back, even before he was such a
shout out to Al.
If he sacrifices himself for the betterment of the team, he's a leader, and that's how I see it. So
I agree, though.
You got to go Al. I don't care. I don't care.
Because if he doesn't come back, which it doesn't look likely, you look at Al, and once he was gone, though, I was still when he was with the Sixers and the Thunder, I was still such
They're
big
still
on
rooting for him.
yeah.
Because
And
he doesn't do anything wrong. He just
no,
does everything right. And he's he just works his tail off. And that's what it's about.
hands down. I forgot if I gave an honorable mention to Taco Fall, but can we please give an honorable
Oh,
mention?
Taco. Yeah.
He was a fan favorite. Love Taco.
Oh, Jason Terry. For some reason I really was a fan of Jason Terry when he was on the team.
Or can we go is it RJ Hunter? Remember him? I think that was imagine I'm just saying a random name.
We're getting deep in the bag.
No.
Yeah, one time funny
we
story. One of my buddies, we were like doing this. We were sitting around in my backyard just hanging out, and we got to the night where we're getting a little bored and we're just saying, screw it, let's name players. So one of my buddies names out of nowhere, he's just like Mitchell Quintesley, and we're all looking at him. We're like, wow, what a poll! Oh my gosh! I mean, I've never heard of him, but I'll believe it. All right. I'll find out. Mitchell Quintesley never played in the NBA. He is not a real person.
No.
And we all thought it was real because we were getting so deep in the names we couldn't even figure it out. And so he got us, and it's a running joke now with all of us. So
I tell you what.
No, Mitchell Quintesley. Maybe he's in the multiverse. Maybe he's an all-star in the Marvel.
He's a 2K My Player.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Someone make Mitchell Quintesley for me in the comments.
Got to. I'm gonna state the obvious out of the way. I'll give Drew Holiday and KP their flowers because I loved watching them. I'm still such a big fan of KP and Drew, so gotta give them their flowers. I know I'm saying a lot recent players, but we also gotta go Smart. I love Smart. He's with the Lakers now, which sucks, but I'm always been a Smart fan. And one that you forgot, Andrew, that I'm putting on my list, Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I mean,
I love
Hayward. Gordon Hayward's awesome, but we just didn't see enough.
We didn't because of the injury. But
yeah,
Gordon Hayward's up there for me. And you want to hear I will say, will forever be my favorite former Celtics player?
Yeah, what's that?
Can we get a drum roll for this one? Because I can't believe you forgot him. Kemba Walker.
Yeah, I thought about Kemba. And honestly, I should have said him too because, he just played the game with so much joy. He's always smiling out there. He's always picking up his teammates. He's always being positive. I mean, he's a good guy for younger fans if they love basketball to model not just their game after, but their mentality after. Because he's always smiling, no matter what was going on. He kept his head up.
Genuinely had fun.
He genuinely had fun, and that's what basketball's about. And if you're out there and you're like, man, I'm not getting the minutes I want, or man, I'm not playing necessarily how I want. Don't worry about it. Get back out there and remember why you play. Remember why you started playing. Just smile because it's a beautiful game, and if you can even play it, you're blessed. And that's the mindset you should have every time you step on the court, and every time you watch the Celtics play.
I agree, and I tell you what, Kemba Walker will forever be one of my favorites. I think I already mentioned this on the podcast. The only thing that made me mad is when he would wear Yankees hats to the press conference.
Yeah,
he's from New York, but it would make me mad because I'm like, come on, you're playing for the Celtics, can't be wearing Yankees. But it was style at the end of the day. But I love Kemba Walker. I loved him more than Tatum at points. I have 2 Kemba Walker jerseys.
Yeah, I got a Kemba one that I still wear to this day, actually. I played off as a Antoine Walker jersey.
No, Kemba was a fan. I tell you what, though.
But I think I could still keep it as a Kemba Walker guy because he was successful. He was successful, and he also you just gotta think about it. If you look at it from a grand scheme of things,
the run we had with him too.
Kemba Walker playing before us, he played with Tatum, he played with Brown, he played with these guys, and his positive attitude most definitely impacted Tatum, most definitely impacted Brown, and that could have propelled themselves
to the championship.
You have to think about it like that. It's a butterfly effect, and so look back all the way to the first Celtics team ever. and look back to Auerbach, who instilled Celtics culture, and look at all the guys who sustained it to get to where Tatum is. Like, that's how you have to look at it. That's how I look at it, and that's how the world works. So all these guys deserve their flowers because at one point or the other they impacted the Celtics and helped lead and helped lead to a winning culture and sustaining that. I mean, some guys maybe not. I mean, and we can name those guys, but a lot of guys have kept that culture going and helped that winning, legacy alive.
You said it right there. I tell you what, leaving us on a positive note too. Like,
yeah, no, I love it. I love it.
Fired up.
You like being a Celtics fan, like you can learn so much from it in my eyes. And not to get deep, but like there's so many cool lessons to learn being a Celtics fan and just watching basketball. So no matter what, when it's not going our way, when we're not winning, there's always a way to win in my eyes. There's always something to take away from it, even if we're not winning. So, and let's end on a positive note and be excited for the season because you never know what could happen this season. And I think we're in for honestly a pleasant surprise. I really do. Because you have a leader in Jaylen Brown out in the community. You have a leader working his butt off to be successful for the Celtics. And if you have that, you have a winning culture. So I don't see why we can't be successful. When Bill Chisholm is saying, you saw that quote, Bill Chisholm is saying, we don't play for second place, we play for championships. And that's always been it. And if that doesn't get you fired up, knowing that your team's going into battle every single day, that's what it's about. And you can be happy with the results on the other side of it, knowing your team put in everything they had. And that's all you can ask for.
I love it, Andrew. Got me fired up. I'm
fired up, man. Celtics are almost here, and we get to follow them, and that's awesome. And I like that. I hope everyone stays on this journey because we're gonna like. Honestly, I want to give you guys more content and give you guys more like personal content, like and really talking to players, talking to fans, and give you honest content like that the media doesn't always give you. We're not trying to clickbait you. We're not trying to surprise you. Like we just want you to, because like when I was younger, I always wanted to be around the NBA. I wanted to make the NBA, but I couldn't. But to give content that's to get you as close as possible to that, that's what I want to do, and I think Griffin could be alike. So, it's exciting, and we're getting closer, and like we're getting closer, but everyone's getting closer. Who's ever watching this? So stick along, because you're as much as part of it as anyone else.
And if you guys want to be fired up like this, subscribe because Andrew's going to be doing this all the time. Andrew hung up the sneakers. He's off the court now, and he's given us.
I'm off the court, and I need this. I actually need it. I need some competitive drive. I need to stay involved with basketball. So I'm so happy that I'm still involved. And if you guys
first full season with Andrew Quinn, we're again the first.
Go, man. Let's go. I mean, this is awesome. We're keeping this going. Fire it up.
I'm ready. With that being said, though, you guys. And Andrew's positivity. Thank you guys for watching. I'm just kidding.
What did she say from Mike Wazowski? I'm always watching. Always watching. That's Missoula. If you're gonna see Missoula in your dreams looking at you like that, if that doesn't fire you up, knowing Missoula is looking at you saying, hey, you better get in the gym. You better start lifting. You better get your shots up.
This is win games. This is who's watching you.
Missoula is always watching.
I did that with Noah Sengay, and now I'm doing that with Joe Mazzulla because that picture is priceless. But
yeah,
here we go. Ready? I think we're ready to send you guys off. Make sure you tune in for next week, though. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and turn on post notifications to be notified every time we upload. Again, you guys, right now it's kind of a dry spell for some breaking news, but make sure to turn on post notifications in case there is, and we will give you guys that breaking news and break it down for you guys. Again, we will see you guys with the next one.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Let us know down in the comments if there's anything that you're looking for, before the season starts ramping up. Because right now we have the opportunity to be a little more creative and kind of do different things that you guys would like to see. So let us know about that as well.
I like that. Maybe a lookalike contest, maybe some more tier list, whatever you guys want. Let us know down below. Andrew, you said it. And while you're at it, while you guys are, in the section by the comments, that subscribe button. It just takes 2 seconds. So make sure to like and subscribe, you guys, and we will see you guys with the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's been real. We'll see you guys. Peace, guys.